Hi, Sacred Soul family. Jenna PinkStone signing on. We're going to talk about energetic frequency today. And I'm going to smudge the room just a bit because this is a complicated concept in and of itself. I want you to imagine energetic frequency as different marks on a blackboard, or for modern day purposes, a dry erase board. Lots and lots of different concepts, ideas expressed, lots of different notions, some of them true in the sense of the 3D, others not verifiable. Simply expressions put out there for all to experience, right? All of these marks on the blackboard are there. And eventually our blackboard, it gets a bit overcrowded, would you say? You can't necessarily discern one concept from the other. And they begin to blend together into an entirely new concept or process of expressing in and of itself. Have you ever heard the expression, you can't see the forest for the trees? Perhaps there's a whole bunch of what looks like gobbledygook on our blackboard. But if we were able to discern each concept individually and in and of itself, it would be a whole lot more understandable to us. I like to consider this smudging the eraser to your blackboard. People use smudging for many different things. You know, I know people that cast spells and they will smudge the area before they emit their frequency. They're calling it a spell. We have to learn to blend the concepts into a single understanding for all to access so that we can actually communicate between each other of all of these walks of life. I know other people that will use a smudge stick to clear spirits or unwanted entities out of the room. Things that are present in maybe not physical form, but certainly a manifestation of some kind of energetic frequency that is not pleasing to their space. And they will use a smudge stick to clear it. Now, usually what you will hear is that people are able to clear the room, you know, momentarily, but that a lot of the times those energies come back. And that is because of some form of, what a transmitter device that continues to emit that frequency into that space. So just because you wipe the blackboard clean or you wipe the dry erase board white again, so that, you know, but it opens it up for something else to come in and leave its mark there, or the frequency that it is emitting. So oftentimes this is a good wipe down, but it's not going to fix your problem. If there is something that is emitting a frequency into the ether of your whereabouts that you want gone, usually we have to go a bit deeper than that, right? But it works if you want to cast your own frequency. You want to emit your own expression into the ether, I love the word ether because it is derived, or it is derived, the word etheric. The etheric is another word for the spirit world. And it is in contrast, many people think of it in terms of opposites of each other, the spirit world, the physical world. There are actually many other different I guess you could call them dimensional playing fields. These are two in which multiple probably comprise them, if that makes sense. So, moving on, the energetic frequency that we ourselves are emitting. This can be many things. This can be an energy of interaction that we put into the room. We've all had that experience where someone enters the room and we can immediately feel that they are going to make everyone uncomfortable, right? Sometimes they don't even have to say a word. It's not necessarily those sound frequencies emitting from them. It is something else. What is that? It's a feeling within them that we are picking up on, and it is palpable. It is powerful. And oftentimes, other frequencies, other people's feelings will emit from them, and these frequencies will converge to form something completely different. Hence our dry erase board covered in lots of different concepts or thought processes or just expressions in and of themselves. And as far as the energetic expression of a specific space, it can all be comprised of many different frequencies, many different emissions. This, as I've said before, is a reason why I'm kind of done calling people specific titles of like empath. I have always identified since my awakening as an empath, someone who is easy. It is easy for me to tap into these frequencies of others that they are emitting. Oftentimes for empaths, it is the other way around as well, where it is easy for them to share their own energetic frequency with another and have them feel it in a way that is surprising to that other person. And it goes both ways. I'm not going to call these people specifically empaths or empathic anymore, because we all have the capability of opening these gifts. This is something innate within us. Now, granted, there are many different kinds of extrasensory gifts, and it kind of is dependent upon the personality and the individual soul expression of which ones will be most prominent in that individual. I know that some people identify with themselves as mostly clairaudient. They hear, but not with their ears, messages, wisdom, something that they are, it's all frequency. It's how you are processing that transmission, okay? Are you still with me? Cool. So, moving on to seemingly a different concept, but it is energetic frequency in and of itself, okay? Material items. We've all heard that everything is energy, everything is frequency. Even the solid things that appear as hard in this 3D world are actually comprised of many different energetic frequencies of expression. It's all just, I guess you could say, waves and particles, depending upon how you look at it, even down to the elements that comprise everything in our physical world. That being said, the jewelry you wear, the clothes that you choose. Many of us don't have the luxury of choosing clothes. I know I've been there, where I didn't get to choose my clothes. It was pretty much just whatever happened, into my life, and I was very grateful to receive it. But the point I'm trying to make is that whatever clothes you happen to be wearing, whatever jewelry you happen to be wearing, whatever colors your garb and wardrobe happen to be comprised of. I know that there have been different times in my life where I was drawn to all blue clothing, and I would get all blue clothing and blue earrings and blue this and blue that. I was actually expressing my own energetic frequency of feeling and what frequency I myself was residing within during that time of my life. And that was just a manifestation of that identity that I was choosing to be in alignment with at that time. okay? Because every color has, you can see, every color has its own energetic frequency. And it is, I know that I would really love kind of a more technical breakdown of all of the different frequency waves that are associated with every given color. I believe red has the longest wavelength, meaning that it has the fewer ups and downs within one set period of light, right? The ups and downs, very technical, right? You can tell I'm not a scientist, but I'm trying to make a point here. So stay with me. Whereas violet, on the complete opposite spectrum of visible light, has multiple dips, many, much more. And I know that there's a number assigned to each one and all of the ones in between. Hence we get our rainbow, Roy G. Biv, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, right? So each one in between is a gradation of how many waves how many frequency waves that is being emitted within that visible light. And hence our eyes perceive it as blue. Our eyes perceive it as purple, as yellow, as green. We will be drawn to different colors during different times of our lives, okay? The next material that I want, that we actually use to imbue our physical form with is jewelry, okay? Now, my best friend got me these tiny bell earrings from India. And as I walk around, they jingle in my ear, okay? Sound frequency. She told me a beautiful story where all of the bangles, the beautiful beads and bells, many of them bells that the women wear in India on their wrists, on their ankles as anklets. I mean, you see the brides, the Indian brides that are decked up in all of that beautiful jewelry, and that you can actually hear the women moving as they walk. They're emitting a frequency. I would not be surprised. In fact, I can actually kind of like feel the tingles of synchronicity as I say this, that when this representation of the women in this culture emitting these frequencies as they walk around, this being a tradition, is very likely a remnant, if you will, of an ancient practice. I mean, we know that India is a place in the world that is indicative of a lost part of our history, right? We can see that from the archaeology, from all around their coastline, that of what once was, and it now lies beneath the ocean. Was it Atlantis? Was it what it was? It doesn't really matter. We know that it was there, and that people over there have many traditions, and many of these traditions are very likely remnants of an ancient and a practice, a way of expression that is very deliberate, okay? Something that we have lost, a deliberate expression of energetic frequency that we don't necessarily understand now. It's just a remnant. We still hold to the practice and the tradition. And if someone has more information on this or can actually add to my orb of understanding that I'm sharing right now, I would absolutely love to speak with you. So please reach out to me. We're always expanding our orb of knowing, and no one is ever really wrong. It's more just an expansion of everything that is infinite in this world, and that by pooling together our orbs of knowing, the collective orb of knowing grows stronger. Do you agree? So moving on from this material type of expression of energetic frequency, something that we are emitting every single time we take a step, every single time someone hears us take a step, It is being emitted into the ether. It is making its mark on the 3D world, but it has an expression in both the etheric and the physical. And we feel that within ourselves, right? Moving on to money. Money is a very hot topic in the spiritual world right now, and whether or not healers should be charging money for their healing services, whether or not that's like ethical and moral, okay? So money is just another energetic expression. It is just energy. It is an energy that we have imbued with our own power, right? It has no power on its own without the power we give it, but we have collectively given it that power, and so it is powerful, right? Money is a vessel to hold that energy that we have imbued within it. I know that we didn't all necessarily agree to that, and individually speaking, but we all individually acknowledge it as a collective. Now, I am all for like one of these societies that money is no longer something that is exchanged for energy. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's not a place that I actually choose to reside right now. I'm not going to say I can't. I could if I wanted to. It would take a lot of energy for me to get there, and I'm not willing to expend that right now. So I am, that is not something that I choose, but it is not, that doesn't necessarily mean it's not something I don't appreciate, because I absolutely appreciate that. I exchange my services for many things other than money. I actually have exchanged with my best friend for many years where, she's always had more money than I have. And she has at times paid me for the services I've given in that way. Other times, you don't even have to look at gifts as a form of payment, simply an energetic exchange, right? And it's not to say that every single form of energy exchange has to have some form of payment, but there comes a time when you must set some kind of solid boundary with, especially in this world that we live in, where we are connected to so many. This is a new process of energetic exchange for us. It's not something that we're used to. We're used to, for the whole collective of human history, maybe not the whole collective, but a majority, right? In the part of history that we are able to recall upon. People have not had interactions with others worldwide. They've had interactions with others far more locally. Things that changed that were the innovation of the airplane. Before that, the innovation of the automobile, right? These ways of moving us, that was actually a dimensional shift. Would you not agree? Of huge proportions. It changed our world in very big ways with how we were able to emit and receive energy from others at that point in time. The internet, same sort of situation, right? The ways in which we are exchanging this energy with others has changed. And it is very easy to become drained of your energy. I know that people have talked to me about this extensively. People that don't hold to a solid practice, and I'm guilty also at times. I'm not going to say that I'm, perfect in any respect in terms of this specifically. We have a technology addiction problem where we wake up and we stare at our phone immediately, right? And it is feeding us energy, but we are also feeding others energy through it. Others can feed us energy. Sometimes this energy is actually sucked from us, especially when we are providing something to others that others need. They need energy work. They need that connection with another human being. They need that understanding of the spirit world. People are waking up at an alarming rate, and they are thirsting for this information. And there are those of us who are out there to help them along the way. We are happy to step into this type of energy exchange, but that's the key right there. It has to be an exchange. And does that mean that we need to be paid money? No, it doesn't. In some people's case, it might be. If they're not willing to accept any other form of energy from you, then that's not an exchange. That's just that's just that healer, that practicer, that provider of something. That's just them emitting and others soaking it up. And that what happens to that person, I will tell you from my own experience. I have experienced this absolutely. It happens with people who have opened their extrasensory gifts, that are empathic, that can connect with others in a very profound way that we are not used to. And so we want more, right? But because we're not used to this kind of exchange, we're not used to like acknowledging it as something that is an energy that we are taking from someone else. We kind of just look at them as like this all-powerful guru when they are a human being just like you, okay? And if they are a true healer, they are doing their best to awaken you and your gifts so that you can do the same. And one day you'll realize that when others are simply taking, it does nothing for that healer but shut them down. And many of them have to retreat to the shadows, go in their cave, get away from all of this. It's too much. That's because a parasitic relationship has been fostered. Some people call it an energy vampire. And I tell you, it is a very real phenomena. So the next time you start to question, why should I be giving money for energy? Why should I have to, why is this healer looking for money? They must be money grubbing. They must be, we all use money for things that are not necessarily luxuries. Many of us, like myself, use it to clothe my children. I use it to provide clean water to my household. I use it so that we don't freeze in the winter. I use it so that we have food to put in our bellies. Okay? These are all very human aspects of energetic needs, right? We all have them. And the way in which we actually meet those energetic needs are through money, oftentimes. I have had people reach out to me and have no money, but they have a beautiful craft and something that they do. They will send me beautiful earrings. They will send me beautiful, I'll show you, beautiful stones, like my pink stone, right? This is rose quartz. And I'll make a separate video about the different stones and how they not only emit a different energy, but many of them can be looked at as batteries for holding energetic frequencies. So that you can access that battery for yourself. And as long as you are able to get into the frequency of that stone, some of us feel drawn to one stone or another. That's because we're already embodying that frequency, okay? And you can actually change your frequency by syncing up to the frequency of a precious stone or mineral. It's lovely. So I really needed to share this in terms of the beautiful light workers out there that are doing their work, much of them tirelessly, much of them drained. None of them really, except for a very few, are paid what it is that they're worth. That's not why they do the work that they do, okay? But I ask you, if you ever wanted to, go and see a doctor for a life-threatening illness, If you ever needed, some kind of legal representation for something that has occurred in the 3D world, and it may be very alarming, and how it could affect the rest of your physical manifestation in this world, you will have to have an exchange between that doctor or that lawyer who is there to change your life, but not necessarily offer you any, 3D product of any sort. They are there to offer you a service that's going to change your life for the better, that's going to change your frequency of expression. I want you to start looking at healers, at light workers, at people that offer their services for you to better navigate the spiritual world in this way, in the service that they are offering you. And you will know within your heart whether or not their resonancy or their frequency emission is something that you resonate with. Something that's going to, if you feel, I need to embody more of that frequency, it's important that you learn from those who are already embodying that frequency. It's a way of getting in touch with ourselves and what it is that we are supposed to be doing, what expression we are supposed to have in this world. I say these things with the utmost unconditional love for all of you, Sacred Soul family. Thank you so much for connecting with me via the collective. I hope that you'll reach out to me and follow me on Instagram and find my group on Facebook. We're actually having some amazing discussions on there. Just search me out on Jenna PinkStone and I will send you an invite. I can also be reached out by email, jennapinkstone@gmail.com. Thank you so much for joining me. Signing off.